Keep part of the problem that we are looking at this as an all or nothing thing. I mean, when cars were first invented, everybody that had a horse was not capable of going out and getting a car. Horses stayed around for a long time after there were automobiles. So not everybody can go and put solar panels on their house and throw up a wind turbine and go out and get a Volt. But they could probably go to Home Depot and get a programmable thermostat, or maybe some compact fluorescent bulbs. And I think a lot of it also depends on lifestyle. You know how I do my job. I can get my car in the morning, and when I get home at night, I'm gone 500 miles, and I never went anywhere. I could go downtown, I can go down to Dayton, I can come back to Toledo. Well, until somebody makes an electric car that allows me to mindlessly get in my electric car and do that, and not be worried about where's the next plug-in station, guess what? I'm not buying an electric car.
Sure.
I can't.
Sure.
Unless I then purposely go out and change my profession. So I live in Ann Arbor, and my whole little environment is a 30-mile drive away from my house. Oh.
They call it mileage anxiety.
The problem is people are looking at this as everybody's got to have an electric car next month. Well, it's not going to happen.
Yep. They call it mileage anxiety at GM. And you're right on. You know, if I've only got 40 miles, you know, that I can get out of this battery, oh my God, I got to 20 miles. I got to start looking for a place to plug in. It will come. And your point is well taken. At Next Energy, we say energy security through energy diversity. We've got to get from where we are today to that really green tech space. It will include nuclear. It will include biodiesel. It will include natural gas. There will be a whole series of things that will eventually help us to build that bridge so that we can all enjoy the benefits. The thing that's interesting, you know, God, I hope the scientists aren't right. Being a scientist, right? God, I hope they're right. The thing that's interesting about today is we have not a moment to waste. If the requirement to be at 80%, no, to be at 20%, 80% reduction, 20% of the carbon usage of 2005 by 2050, which is only 40 years away, man, we got some work to do. We got work to do, the Chinese got work to do, the Indians got work to do, all these third world countries that want to come up to our living standard have got a lot of work to do. That's the thing that bothers me more than anything else. And your point's well taken. We will get there gradually. Folks will come along. Even some of those folks that thought we never went to the moon are now saying well, maybe it did happen. But there's this ticking sort of, you know, time limit out there that maybe we haven't got our arms completely around what the mechanism is. But I mean, things do seem to be warming up. Temperatures and weather does seem to be changing. Some of the problems I suggest are our own fault. Have any of you heard me talk about hyperspace, the book Hyperspace? There's a book by a gentleman named Michio Kaku. He's an excellent physicist. He does a piece on string theory and general field theory, physics. But he does it in a way that laymen can understand. I mean, even I can understand what he's talking about. In this book, he talks about string theory and how to figure out how to put together the equations that would essentially describe how everything in the universe works. But at one point, he begins to go back in history and look at how things were done. He offers that in a place, in one of the discussions, a little piece on SETI, S-E-T-I, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. He says there are several theories about why, in all this time that we've been looking for extraterrestrials, that we've never found any. You know, at one point we had all these computers all lashed up together, and all the telescopes were out pointing, and we were sending folks out with this and that, and sending out rocket ships with little stuff on the side. It, you know, talks about who we are and what we do. Of the 6 or 7 theories about why we've never found intelligent life in the universe, 3 were most important to me, and I mention them everywhere I go because it has to do with this issue. The first was that intelligent life did in fact come out of the slime, got to a place where it could achieve space travel, got to a place where it could cross those many thousands, millions of years of of light speed to get here. And when they got here, they found out we were too dumb. So they decided, we don't deal with it. Second was that intelligent life found us, but they found we were too dangerous. And they decided they didn't want to take a chance on letting something as terrible as us sort of work its way across the world. The third was the most interesting. The third was that thousands of opportunities for life forms to raise to a level higher than ours and achieve space travel and find other worlds, thousands of life forms got their start. But at some point, technology outstripped their social and cultural mores, and they simply killed themselves off. Stop and think about that for a minute. Nuclear weapons, greenhouse gas, biological and chemical warfare. We can kill ourselves off at any minute. And I got my first wife's lawyer is somebody, I'll tell you, who's just not bright enough to do anything to keep himself alive. There's enough people out there who will push the button without a thought. We got to keep those folks away from the buttons. But the world is, the scientists are telling us that 50 years from now, if we don't figure out to have driven the entire world's consumption of fuels that put carbon in the air to a point where it's 20% of the carbon that went into the air in 2005, in 40 years, we will pass a point, I think it's something like 3.4 to 4 degrees of temperature rise worldwide. That'll make, the idea is go buy Las Vegas now, because that's seashore property in 40 years. It will be a tremendous calamity. So your point again, I go back to that. You're absolutely right. Moving from handwriting to the printing press, moving from an agriculture to a mechanical society, moving from horse and wagon to cars could take place in a little more tranquil kind of an environment. I'm scared to death we don't have much time. And we got to get our arms around it. If we built 10,000 nuclear reactors, if we built one reactor a day, if we licensed and permitted and turned on one new reactor a day, every day between now and 2050, it's about 10,000, we would only fix about, memory serves, about a third of the problem. That's scary stuff. And I'm not trying to be an alarmist. I'm just saying, you guys do the math yourself with me, and let's figure out how to work together to get this area first, and then the rest of Michigan fixed. Maybe we'll set an example for the rest of the world.